Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Snews. Now it's Tuesday, so you know that means Top 5 Tuesday with Ahmad Brooks. I'm John Madani, LonghornStation.com. And The Blind Side is a sports-themed movie that actually was recognized Sunday night at the Academy Awards. It earned a Best Actress Oscar for Sandra Bullock, who starred in The Blind Side. There have been 3 sports movies ever to be named as Best Picture: Chariots of Fire, Rocky, and Million Dollar Baby. Now, we're not going to tell you the best 5 movies, sports movies of all time, but we are going to give you our favorite top movies in sports of all time. Would you like to get started?
I'll get it started. Number 5 for me is Hoosiers. This movie, for a young man who was still trying to learn the team concept, my father would always tell me why it's more important for the team to have success versus individuals. This was the epitome of a team who was not supposed to win a state championship, and they come out and did an outstanding job. And by the way, I thought that even the characters in the movie did a great job of portraying the movie. Hoosiers, for me, one of the top sports movies of all time because of it taught that cohesiveness, that camaraderie, that sports in general, John, are all about.
Number 5 for me is Bad News Bears, the original, with Walter Matthau. This was the sports movie of my youth. I remember that movie came out in about 5th grade, and I can remember spending long summer days over at North Cross Mall, which was air-conditioned. And back at that time, it was the North Cross 6 theaters, and you could go in. I mean, I must have sat through the movie 3 times. You know, you just killed the whole day over at the movie theater. I saw it 3 times. First time I heard little kids cuss. I mean, it was great. And ultimately, the sports theme was, you know, you don't always win. It's about competing. And Walter Matthau, he empties the bench, and all the scrubs play with the championship at stake, and the parents freaking out. It was just a really cool film. It was a great movie. And the lesson, you know, at the very end, hey, you know, Yankees, just wait till next season, you know, because we're going to continue to fight and compete, even though nobody wants us. It's a great message. Bad News Bears, number 5 on my list.
Number 4 for me, I'm not a huge Sylvester Stallone type of guy.
Yes, you are.
This movie, I mean, I keep these DVDs near my bed. I mean, it's just that important to me. Rocky, when you start talking about heart and you start talking about what it looks like, a guy who was undersized, who was boxing, you know, people who are twice his size with more skills. Now, I'm a 5'8" guy that made it to the NFL. If you think this movie didn't motivate me and didn't inspire me and put me and encourage me to go and do the things that defy the odds of being a great athlete, this movie had a lot to do with it. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person on the planet that Rocky inspired like that. Rocky, for me, number 4.
I do have Rocky also at number 4 on my list. And again, you see this continuing theme for me. He didn't win. Nice guys don't always finish last. That's the thing about sports. The teams we root for do not always win, but that's the lesson of sports. You know, it's not that you have to win everything. It's the competition. Just competing, just fighting for it, trying to be best, the best that you can be. That's what competition's all about. And yeah, Rocky, also, just the tone of the movie. I'm not a director, and I can't give you all the movie themes, but that's a dark film. And he's in that dark, dank apartment and all that. I mean, just an amazing film. Rocky, number 4.
Adrian!
What's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 for me, Rudy. I grew up watching Notre Dame. In fact, wanting to go to Notre Dame. And let's talk about the real story. My next 3 are all based
Look, Notre Dame colors.
my movies are all based on, my top 3 are all based on true stories. Here's a guy who's 5'6", who weighed 150 pounds dripping wet. He plays for one of the more historic programs in all of football. You want to talk about a story that makes you just, you know, have goosebumps. How many times does this really happen? How many times does the good guy, the guy who never gets a chance, actually win? It doesn't happen very often, and because of that, on top of that, it was Notre Dame. I love the entire theme behind it. I love the way the players laid their jerseys down and said, hey, here's what we're about. We want this guy to play. He gets in the game, makes a tackle. I mean, you talk about a story that really just resonated to me as being one that I wanted to grow up and be like. And in fact, John, I turned that into reality, being a 5'7" defensive back out of West Texas who was not recruited as a defensive back to come to this university and start. Rudy was another one of those movies like Hoosiers and Rocky that really inspired me to have big heart.
You get shorter every time you tell that story. I've never seen all of New Rock and the All-American. I'm not watching Rudy. I'm not watching anything that glorifies Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame. Beat the Longhorns back in 77. Whatever. Anyway, number 3 on my list is Bull Durham. It's a funny movie. It's a comedy, but it's written by a guy who is a minor league baseball player, Ron Shelton. It's a great script. It's a great cast. They've got great chemistry. who could ever forget the candlestick scene when they all come out? What's going on out here? It's like, well, Jimmy and Millie are getting married. Nobody seems to know what. Well, place settings are nice, and maybe our candlesticks are nice. Maybe a place setting. I mean, it's a hilarious film. But at the end of the day, it's a business, a brutal business of professional baseball, minor league baseball, and you can't forget the end when the camera zooms in on Crash Davis after he's gotten Nuke LaLoosh to the major leagues. Bye bye. The organization wants to make a change. Some hotshot catcher coming up from Vidalia or whatever. That's the sport. That's the way that it is. The good guy doesn't always win in the end. Bull Durham's just a really, really good movie. Funny movie, but a very good movie too. Number 3 on my list.
I grew up playing football in West Texas, and when you throw out the name Odessa Permian, a lot of people, it's much like Notre Dame. You either love them or you hate them. And I hated them because they used to kick our butts. Because of that, Friday Night Lights, Billy Bob Thornton portrayed actually my high school coach, my quarterback's coach, and Gary Gaines did an excellent job in the movie. My old college roommate was Ivory Christian in the movie. It was so many things that connected me to that movie that made it so good, and the storyline was good. Once again, based on a true story. So I really loved that movie. I thought it did a great job of portraying what football was like in West Texas. It is big, folks, and Friday Night Lights, because of that, is number 2 on my list.
I've got 2 documentaries at 1 and 2, which I know you don't approve of, but
No.
But they are documentaries for me. Number 2 is Hoop Dreams. Now, Hoop Dreams, you got to go back a little ways for that one, but it was basically about a 3-hour documentary that followed the lives of 2 budding basketball superstars through inner city Chicago, and one of them kind of had the road paved for his way to stardom. He was going to be a college superstar and go to the NBA, and the other guy was just trying not to get shot. I mean, it was a very compelling scene where he actually turns 15 or 16 years old or something like that, and they have a birthday for him to see the cake and the candles. And it was a momentous occasion because like 3 of his buddies didn't see their 16th birthday. They were gunned down in the Cabrini Green projects, or I hope I got that name right. But I mean, it's amazing. It's just an amazing movie that makes you take a step back and understand and maybe appreciate a little more that it's not just as easy as we all think it is. The alarm clock goes off, you shower, put on your clean clothes, and go to work every day. It's not that easy for everybody, and you start to root for guys like this. It's a rough movie. Hoop Dreams, number 2 on my list.
If you notice here, I got 3 football movies all in the top spots, and I'm not going to change it here. Remember the Titans. Denzel Washington was spectacular. One of his best acting roles. But it was the movie, it was the theme, it was the mantra, the mission, the objective of this movie that I really caught on to. The racial barriers that existed that were broken down in this movie. On top of that, a team that came together and accomplished a greater goal. All those things are great. And if I ever have children, you better believe I'm a force feed that movie down their throat. They will have to watch it. And on top of that, I mean, who does not want to see Denzel Washington? As a football coach, he can do gangster, he can do football coach, he can do father. Denzel Washington made the movie, but it was the objective and the theme that really honed in with me.
You want to see Denzel Washington? Go rent a movie called Carbon Copy.
I've never seen it.
Very young with George Segal back in the day. Pretty funny. A very young Denzel Washington. Okay. It's funny to go back and look at him now. At any rate, number 1 on my list, another documentary, When We Were Kings. And I've referenced it before. Just complete filmmaking. It's great. It's a documentary about the rumble in the jungle. Ali beating Foreman. Foreman was invincible, young and strong. A lot of Mike Tyson parallels in terms of just raw, brutal, unyielding, but also not as intelligent as a crafty, wily Muhammad Ali who got it done. It's just great filmmaking. The people they have contributing to it, the whole thing is tremendous. And one of the best theme songs of any movie anywhere. Watch it till the end when the credits roll and listen to that When We Were Kings song, which still gives me chills. It's a really good song. You got to find it. Anyway, those are our list of our 5 favorite movies of all time. And while you're thinking movies and sports, don't miss out on that HBO documentary of Magic vs. Bird. That is a really good one, and it's out available right now. So be sure to join us tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Ahmad Brooks, John Medani on the Wake Up Call on the Longhorn Station, AM 1300 The Zone.